themes for the underground, the establishment, and other subcultures not yet known. Honest to God. I have
rolls right off the tongue.
Well, that was funny. That's great. And that came out in Walter Rain. I don't know if he's still in New York or not.
Yeah, I don't know that
A composer, he actually talked me into having him do that because I was doing some jingles and some record dates and things for him in New York. I said, okay. So he did this and did it. It was like voices, vibes, drums, bass, and all kinds of other things. I remember that because Marilyn Jackson, who was a friend of mine at the time, when I knew in New York, was the head of the singers on this date. And the writing for the singers was so absolutely ridiculous that she wound up in there readjusting all of that sort of work. I still have a copy of this.
Wow.
You know, you can't get these anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, then, so following that, maybe talk about how your deal with Columbia came about, and I know John Hammond, very famous producer, produced those records, and also just putting the big band together at that time, just how that came about and what that was like.
I'll tell you, Willard Alexander was a major part of this thing. Willard had known me for a long time and had come to clubs I was playing with rhythm sections, and he heard the band. And he said, look, he says, I'm going to try to get you on Columbia Records, you know.
Wow.
And I said, really? How interesting, you know. So sure enough, he worked it out with John Hammond, where John came and heard the band, and John decided to record the band. So I figured, now, let's see, I got to make this sound like it's not a jazz band, because Maynard Ferguson had a pretty hot band at the time, and my game was to try to fall into that slot somehow. I wasn't thinking right. I didn't really picture myself the way that I do now and did later. So I had a whole bunch of people, including John LaBarbera, who I haven't seen in years.
Right.
You know, write some charts, and I got one of Bill Berry's charts and a few things just gathered up to put together, and I wrote a couple of my own. So we went and recorded that, and then started traveling around with the band. I lost a lot of money doing that, you know. And then we got into doing a second album, and that was, I think it was Space Available. Is that the second one?
I think.
Manhattan Wildlife Refuge.
And then Tiger San Pedro.
Tiger San Pedro.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, Tiger San Pedro was a John LaBarbera chart, I think, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And he thought it was humorous because there are no tigers in San Pedro. You know. But we did that, and after it had gotten released, you know, I remember going to John's office. And John would sit at his desk, and he says, Bill, the album is not doing very well. you know, he'd give me all kinds of things to feel great about, you know. I'd come out of there wanting to die, you know. And while I was out on the road on another trip with the band, I got the message from him that Columbia Records had discovered Bruce Springsteen. They were canceling my contract with Columbia. I was really depressed when I heard that. That was the end of it, you know. So that's so much for Columbia Records.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and unfortunately it's also not a unique story for jazz artists, even at your level and stature. Let me just ask you specifically about the fourth floor walk-up cadenza, like how was that something you just came up with on the fly? Had you got it worked out a little bit in advance?
I had written that tune, you know, and sat down, and in those days my thought process was for some reason to have a damn cadenza in the middle of the tune instead of at the end where it belongs, which it should have been. And so what we did, D, 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 and I come in with a triple high E flat, you know, which I haven't played in years.
I have never played, but go ahead.
No, you know, coming down, I worked my way down and played all kinds of all through this thing. There's all this stuff, and I didn't really play any ideas. They were all just, you know, not to bring anybody down who's listening to this, but it was all just things that when I listen to them now, I go, well, technically, yeah, but musically, I'm not sure. But for the time, it was interesting because nobody else was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is simply turned it all loose. I just what the heck, I'm going to play as many notes as I possibly can, and it was in the middle of the tune. So when we did this live, Danny Stiles would play after I got through. After the cadenza, the place would be screaming with applause and stuff. And by the time Danny came in, the crowd was already burned out.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the cadenza already done. Instead of putting it at the end of the tune, where it should have been, I, like a dummy, had it in the middle of the tune. I think about that every so often. Go, oh, man.
I actually thought just kind of the opposite. I thought it was kind of cool because, like you're saying, it's typically it would be at the end, but and I mean the fact that you could play at that level, it commanded attention. You know, in the middle of the chart. I thought it was good.
Yeah. You know, like I say, I wasn't thinking in any direction but that at the time. You know, there are other tunes I did cadenzas on that were 100 times more interesting than that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that really worked out right. You know. But, you know, I was a young guy, and then I was just, you know,
why the heck is that so
wanting
big?
to show off all the speed I could come up with.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, like I said at the beginning, it had made such an impact on all of us. So we all appreciate the fact that you did it. In the 70s, you moved out here to Los Angeles. You were obviously doing extremely well in New York in the recording scene and as a solo artist. What made you make the move out here? And then, now that you look back and you were such a dominant force in both places, how would you compare the two musical singers?
Okay, let me start at the top of this thing. I made a couple of trips to Los Angeles to play at Dante's. That was one of the big jazz clubs. And while I was there the first time, I met the girl I'm married to now, Marianne. She was trying to help Carrie Leverett collect all of the, you know, there were 1,000 people in there, it seemed like. And she was helping him out, and I saw her.
Hello.
At first sight, I just went, oh, yeah, okay, this is it. It was so much it that I had a friend in New York named George Trefan, who was a big womanizer.
Hello,
Like I was
hello.
before I met her. And I sold her my black book for $150. I said, this is it, I'm done. I'm done, that's the end of all of this. I met the one, this is it, you know. So I did Dante's, and then I went back to New York and all. And of course, while I was back there, I had informed my now ex-wife that I never wanted to be in the same room with her again, let alone be married to her. That's enough. So now I'm headed back to Los Angeles again to play Dante's again. Now I get in Dante's, you know, and I'm on the mic, I play a set, and I get in, and I talk, ladies and gentlemen, I am so thrilled and impressed with Los Angeles. This is a place I would love to be. In fact, I am planning to pack up all of my stuff and move here and stay and live here personally. The place was full of musicians. Not a sound did I hear, nothing. And I'm standing on the stand, and everybody is like full of. And all of a sudden I hear from back of the bar, says, don't look now, but I think I just heard Dick Nash vomit into his suit. Which was just a joke, because Dick Nash is one of the greats of all time.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to worry about anybody coming anywhere or doing anything.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. But
That was Barney Liddell that said that. He was on the Lawrence Welk band.
Oh, yeah.
Good trombone player, too.
And so once you got out to LA, and I know when we were driving over here this afternoon, you were saying how you miss New York quite a bit, and of course you're an East Coast guy to begin with. But how do you, when you look at it now, how would you compare the two places from the musical perspective?
It's different now. It was a whole different story. Back then, New York was the apple. That's where, to me, it was, for years and years, I really did well. But at the time that I chose to come out here, there was another reason too. Pat Williams had called me and said, I'm working like crazy out here. If you'd get out here, of course I had already decided to come, I'll get you a lot of work. So at that time, the work was dying in New York. A lot of any movie calls were out somewhere else. Jingles was down the toilet. A lot of the recording studios had pretty much folded up, and anybody who was working at all did a Broadway show. And I thought at the time, I would rather be boiled in oil than do a record show and sit in the pit, because I'm slightly claustrophobic.
Okay.
That never worked for me.
Yeah.
Ever since Frank Rehab barfed in my lap.
That'll cure you.
That really, that
interesting shows, right?
we were doing a ballet, a French ballet with TEEJYS. And Frank was sitting all over the front of me. And in those days they had one suit, and that was it. And I had to sit there living with this for the rest of the show. It was just, I was bummed out.
Yeah.
I said, Rehab, what'd you do that for? He said, hey, don't you dig Boss Vom, man? Dancer.
For those of you, and I bet there are probably quite a few younger players who don't know who Frank Rehab is, he's a name worth looking up, and he did have
It's kind of tough now that I'm in the higher
drug
register.
issues, and, I'm sure that
I don't know how to
probably
freaking
at that
just
time, but,
hit that. No.
an amazing
Yeah.
player.
Oh,
I mean,
he
you
was
worked with him a
wonderful.
lot, so
Great.
he was, I had the good fortune of when I was in high school playing with Beethoven's with Bob Robinson in San Francisco, and Billy would always have great people come in, yourself, of course, and Frank Rehab would host some rehearsals at Synanon, the drug rehab place. So I'd go up there. My mom probably would put the fear of God in her. I'm driving by myself up to the Synanon to have rehearsals, but I was always amazed at Frank Rehab.
Oh, he was wonderful. He actually straightened out. When he went to Synanon, he stayed there as the director.
Right.
He was in charge of the entire thing. I guess in the last how many years ago, he finally got in trouble and he canceled. And there's no Synanon anywhere. Frank called me 2 days before he died, and just said I'm going to be leaving soon.
Oh, he knew something was wrong.
Yeah, I won't be able to talk to you, and it's just been great playing with you. And, God bless you.
That's kind of beautiful in a certain way. Imagine if you could say goodbye and thank you. It's so meaningful to you.
Yeah, he did that.
That's amazing. That's great. Bill, in addition to the 2 records you did on Columbia, then you've gone on to record over 25 CDs as a solo artist. Do you have a couple of favorites that jump out at you looking back on
All-time favorite was A Time for Love. I did with all the John Mandel's tunes, and wonderful Sally.
Yeah.
What a gift to humanity that guy is.
Yeah.
Greatest, I did one before that called Bonafide,
Oh, yeah.
which was pretty good too. Bonafide was a little more open and stretched out.
Mm-hmm.
Did a lot of long solos. I wrote a couple of things and whistled on one of the tunes. And
Right, yeah. I forgot about your
the best, one of the unforgettable on that Bonafide is one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. That's worth listening to. Because I wrote French horn lines that I played behind that. It sounded like a mini French horn section.
That's cool. I always thought that Time for Love record was spectacular, and that tune, of course, Johnny Mendez is a great composer and arranger and former trombone player. But that tune just seemed like
That chart was just amazing. Sammy wrote. He's one of the greats of all time. Sammy
Absolutely. Well, that kind of leads us nicely into, I like to just throw out some names. I call it name association. And just give us a couple quick thoughts about some of these amazing players that we've worked with. Let me start with
I consider the all-time greatest jazz trombone. Oh, Carl. I did many gigs with him. We did a CD together that was available. It was done for the Japanese label. I don't think you can get it now. But that turned out really well. Carl was one of the most There's a joke he told me, but I can't tell. I don't think I can.
You could give it a shot.
Oh, I'll give it a shot. We were on a plane, and we were going off to somewhere. And he was telling me about his taxes, and he's sitting, you know, he says, I'm 75,000. I don't know what to do. What are you going to do? And then those days, there was a vessel known as the pretzel. He said, I got to wrestle a pretzel. His friend says, you're crazy. He does everything he can't move. You don't have a chance. He said, I can't help it. I got to wrestle a pretzel. I said, man, you're crazy. And he gets in, his friend says, I can't watch this. So holding his friend's hand up in the air. He says, he grabbed me and he said, and I just couldn't move. He says, and everything was going on. I didn't know where to go. And finally I opened my eyes and I saw this big pair of balls staring me right in the face.
Ooh, that's tough.
And you know what? It's amazing the amount of energy a guy gets from biting himself in the balls.
I was wondering what direction that was going to go at the end.
You know now. That probably isn't going to make it.
That's right.
But that's a great story. He told me that story. I was on the way to where we were going. We were going to play it.
Continuing on, trombone players. One of our, we're talking about him previously.
As a trombone player, though, Japan. And I got off and I went on Liberty. It was, I guess it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I walked into Japanese town. And there's a in the front. And Japanese. There was 2 people. There was a bar guy and then a waitress. And I went and sat down. And this place had the first student. She walks over and sees my uniform. She says, "Oh, you're a musician. What you pray?" He says, "I play the trombone." Ever hear of Irby Glean?
Mr. Batts welcomed himself.
So 25 years let's face some music and dance. And I lost it. Japanese subtitles. I still have it.
Oh, that's awesome. How great he played. but
Wayne was a great curmudgeon. If there was anything, if we were doing a session, and he knew that something on the contracting end of things wasn't going right, he would call it up. He would go for him, right away, And I thought he was an absolutely great trombone player and a sensational individual.
yeah.
All around,
Yeah, he always, obviously I didn't have as much association as you did, but I know whenever I was on, I was the beneficiary of some of him going to bat for the musicians. He was very much about doing the right thing.
He was on Winding's band. It was his chair that I took when I joined Kay's band.
Oh, okay.
Because Wayne had left it to be busy in New York. And of course, then I was out on the road with Kay.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And one of my favorites, and I know you had a close association with him, unfortunately very tragic ending, but Frank Roberts.
Frankie. What a guy. I mean, let me tell you one thing I noticed always about Frank. Frank was fearless. There was nothing he wouldn't do. In life or any other way, he was just a wild guy. And when he played, one of the things I knew about Fontana, most of what he played was in the key of C, F, B flat, E flat, behind that. Rosalina would play things in the key of D, A, D,
playing. I mean, yourself as well, but it was so, everything was just right. It almost looked like he was a statue.
He used Fontana and myself and others, just the first four positions. Everything else is, you don't have to go unless you play a low C or a B natural.
Right.
Or a low D flat or that. Everything is up here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story about him. We were at Dick Gibson's jazz party in Colorado. And we had played a set in the afternoon. I guess it was about 3 o'clock downstairs. The three of us, me and Carl and Frank. And now we went to Russell in his room. And the three of us started playing a blues, one chorus at a time, around in a circle. Someone would play a bass line. And we went around and we started at 4:15. And at 5 o'clock, we were still playing that blues. Now, boom, 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 boom on the door. And Rosalina goes over, opens the door, and this guy said, I'm from security. We've had a complaint about you playing the blues. Could you kindly cease and desist? And Rosalina goes, slam. He slams the door on him. And the guy doesn't know what's hit him. We go back, we're playing again. He comes back again an hour later. Now it's almost 6 o'clock. And Rosalina does the same thing. That's the last we saw of this guy. He said, I'm not going back to that room for love or money. I'm not ever going. Those guys are crazy.
That's a great story.
God, he was a marvelous guy.
Well, thanks for sharing that story. It's a great one. Bill, as we kind of wind down a little bit, as you look back on your extraordinary career, is there anything you'd still like to do that you might have missed up to this point, or?
God, I think there's a lot of things that I'd like to do. I would like to do a new CD pretty soon. I've got things in collection to do. I've even got tunes picked out. I have just recently done one with Gary Irwin, who has a big band.
Okay.
And I've done some solo things with him and his band. I've done 2 projects with him already. And we have just done another one, in which I played a whole bunch of, one of the ones was Guess I'll Hang My Tears Out to Dry, which really came out good. And I was listening to it the other night, I listened through it just to make sure that it's, safe for release.
I'm confident it is.
I think it is too. The Gentle Rain is on there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Well, that's great. I mean, I knew, even before I asked the question, I knew that you're still forging ahead as a solo artist. Like, yeah, thank God. That's great. Bill, I usually ask our artists we're fortunate to talk to, for the young people that are viewing this, if the music business has changed so much in your lifetime, and it's certainly going to change a lot going forward. If there was a young trombonist out there who was thinking about trying to make this his life's work, what bit of advice would you offer to them?
I tell them, don't quit your day job. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go back about 12 years, maybe 15 years. I'm jogging down in Riverside, and I see two young black dudes carrying a boombox about this big, and it's called boom, chick, kaboom, kaboom, chick, boom, chick, kaboom, kaboom, chick. People, chick, chick, people, only people, chick, kaboom, kaboom, how the luck is, people, chick, people in the world, chick, kaboom, kaboom, chick, chilling, and I went, oh, I think we're in deep trouble. And what has happened was rap has really taken over the business. It's a humongous financial success. And that's really what's going on. So if you look at the scene, a lot of jazz artists, literally, say, taking day jobs, ducking out of the whole scene. Unless they're really active within their business, what they do, like you are, for instance, staying on top of things and doing other things within the music business to keep active. That is the secret, is to keep active, to find things to do that are going to benefit you musically, emotionally, personally.
Yeah. Well, I think for you too. I mean, you look at your career, and certainly the times are different. But you could have easily just been a side musician and done all the studio work and the TV jobs and everything. But you had the initiative to become a great singer.
So I followed up with Los Angeles Sandy Depressant. I can't even tell you what he said. I'll tell you after this thing. But it was not cool of me to do it, regardless of the fact that I had reason to do it, and the situation in which I did it sort of aimed me at that. But what I did was so uncool that I will never be forgiven for what I said. So I had to get out and do other things and do studio work, because that was the end of my career right there.
The positive side of that, we all get to hear you play stuff we'd like to hear you play. So that's an amazing thing. Bill, listen, thank you once again for taking time out today to come down, and mostly thanks for all the inspiration from all of us trombone players out there. You've given us a huge gift, and we really thank you for that. My pleasure, Bill. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next month.
Alright, man. Alright, man. Let's see. What? What the heck am I doing? All right. Let's see. Man, this camera's up in my face. This camera up in my face, though. I can't even fucking see the computer screen. Uppity in my face. Man, these camera angles are so needy. What the fuck? Holy shit. Okay. Jesus blast. Alright. I only got so far this time because I got super duper hungry. Had to stop early because I was hungry. Yeah, so. Honey, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, hi, hey. That's what the sound sounds like. Hey. Because you're supposed to go E. No, that's actually what it is. It's not E, it's E. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll try. Remember that before I articulate. Seems like natural now. Sleep. Pretty good. Had 2 4-hour windows of sleep. Woke up. Maybe 3 hours ago. It's 1:18 p.m. now. Mood. Chillax, albeit a little frustrated and hungry. I'm frustrated because I approach the altissimo range as if it is already integrated in my default mode. So I have to remind myself that this is the part of my training where I where I teach my body and expose my system or how existing up in that field and showing my system the uncharted land so that it all can become second nature, default mode. I'll have an observation section. Observation. F sharp is where my range starts, or is the last note, which tone and note retrieval come easy. I'm still approaching G to A flat, or G and A flat, G flat, G, A flat, and A. With uncertainty plus fear plus overcompensation of overcompensation in the form of compressing my throat and closing the airflow, plus forgetting to attack and follow through with the ha plus E, plus singing the note. I've mainly been accessing those notes with damn, I'm jittery. I've mainly been accessing those notes with ha, Mainly been accessing those notes with ha and relying on pressure-oriented. Relying on pressure to access and maintain those notes. B flat and beyond are very rare are rarer for me to hit compared to the last 4 notes, and my approach / obstacles in note acquisition are very much similar to the 4 notes prior, if not more exaggerated. Therefore, bad for my posture and or posture ergonomics and longevity. So that's a note. That is one observation. I think I'm more dehydrated as of recently. It could be more in my head, but I feel like my flexibility is hindered in this state. So I'll have to increase my water intake for when I get back after eating. Observations. I got hungry in the middle of my long tones and noticed my focus was lackluster and I was devolving after holding a note for a certain time. I was devolving ergonomically. Instead of what I believe I would usually do, wait till after my routine to eat. I'm making an attempt to cut myself early to avoid developing and reinforcing those bad habits. Yeah. I don't really need this anymore. Let's see. I don't want to play with you no more. Fucking Woody or Andy to Woody in the Scary Nightmare Dream. I don't want to play with you anymore. I think that's what they said. Homepage. Dude, where? Okay, here it is. Okay, let's see. We'll put step 1 up here now. Step 0 before that, of course. Actually, no, we'll put... Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so step 0 before step 1. Couple more times where it's natural, then I will remove from the rubric. Warm-up exercises. Shit. How do I switch these? Alright. Do, 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 do. Articulations. Articulations. One tones. Right? I think this is what I want. How do I make these longer though? Just typing? Oh. Interesting. Articulations? Check out general. What do I want to focus work on next sesh? Articulations? Yeah. Warm-up exercises. Articulations. I often reset, or like in general, I try to reset exercises when I fail. No. And try to run the entire regimen with over 90% accuracy. Today. So I guess I could write these in like ground rules, like principles or some shit. Articulations, principles. But then I'll add some qualifications. You should never spend more than 6 minutes per regimen. When doing this. So, in other words, after 6 minutes, just do your best in completing the entire thing. Okay. Articulations. Okay. Today, articulations. I reset a handful of times. I rarely completed each section. Do. With flawless pitch, or for flawless descending pitch execution. I often play duplicate. What? D fourth position and fourth and first position. Mm-mm. 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 And the altissimo. I am still learning the movement. I'm still learning to develop my own movement economy. And I don't have a complete map of the positions or I also don't have a complete grasp on the notes which exist on each partial, or the fact that in this altissimo, or the fact that in this altissimo range, notes are much closer together and fewer exist on each partial as well. So I'm pursuing notes past third position often when I should go back to first. Check out. So I'm not. Okay, so first, routine 1, up to long tones. Or what do we want to call this? Session 1? Up to long tones. Shit. Should I distinguish all of these for session 1? Man. Or do I fucking copy and paste this underneath and do it again? No, I think that might be messy. Session 2. Session 1. Oh. Okay. Warm-up exercises. Session 1. Art 2. Long tones. Very hungry. I'll return after a short rest to digest my lunch. Man, I want to play video games so bad. My TikTok is fucking full of video game streams now because I've been so interested and so invested in that. But I I don't know. I have like such a weird sense of responsibility. You know, so. Yeah. I don't know why I got rid of this mub. Alright. Food time.